Okay. There is always a gift. I always owe you something or the other. Nervous issue. I'm having nervous problem. Especially after Corona. Nervous and used to be a Churi. You know Churi? Big deal. खबर है कोई इसका
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
You're not so strong, huh? You gotta feed them more. Some more chapatis. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Adam's fired up. That's good.
Hare Krishna.
You must have chanted nicely.
Try to today.
I get a nice verse for you today. Very nice. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janbalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janbalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jashodanandana Jaya Brajajaranjana Jaya Brajajaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajaranjana Jaya Brajajaranjana Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janbalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janbalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jashodanandana Jaya Brajajaranjana Jaya Brajajaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajaranjana Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Jai Shishimad Govinda Swami Srila Gurudev ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Jai Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Jai Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda ki Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Ramsa Goho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Brinda ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Shri Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki Shri Shri Gwanitai ki Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Lady Subhadra Devis ki, Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Shri Radha Gopal Ji ki, Shri Radha Madhava ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Premanam Sankirtan Jagya ki, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Good morning. Are you awake? Everyone's awake? Narayanam namaskritya Nadam chaiva narotamam Devim saraswatin vyasam Tato jayam udiraye Vede ramayane chaiva Purane bharate tata Adavante chamadye cha Hari savata giyate Mukam karoti bachalam Pangum langayate gire Yad kripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum dinatadane Paramananda madhavam Paramananda Semakaranda Panapari Anande Bolo Hari Hari Harika Name Bandavela Harika Rive Chakadola Se Chakadolanka Payare Manamo Rahu Nirantare Manamo Nirantare Rahu Ha Krishna Bali Jiva Jao Ha Krishna Bali Jabu Jiva Mote Udhara Radha Dava Mote Udhara Radha Dava Mote Udhara Radha Dava Dhamma Puchita Kaitavocha Paramo Nimatsananam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapachayan Mulanam Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamune Kriti Kimva Parishvaraha Sadya Hridya Varujyate Chakriti Vishashushabhistatsanat Nigamamnapucharo Kalitam Padam Shuka Mukadam Ritadavya Samhitam Devata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhu Aho Vasika Bhuvibhavakaha Anato Pasamam Sakshat Bhakti Yoga Madhoksaje Lokasha Janato Vidvam Chakre Satpat Samitam Yashyam Vaishyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhakti Upanyate Pumsa Shoka Moha Vayapaha Shrimad Bhagavatam Paranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahansam Lakam Amalam Gyanam Param Giyate Tatta Jnana Varagya Bhakti Saitam Naskam Adishkritam Tashin Van Subhatan Vacharana Paro Bhaktya Abhamachanaraha Ato Yam Ramasutranam Bharatata Vanirnaya Gayatri Vasharupa So Vedata Paribrimita Sabha Vedatihasanam Saram Saram Samudritam Sabha Vedanta Saram Hi Srimad Bhagavatam Vishrite Tadrasam Triptasya Nanyata Sabhati Pachi Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup Shri Bhagavata Tate Veda Shastra Hoite Parama Mahatma Chari Veda Upanishade Yata Kicho Haya Tarakta Lanavyasa Karila Sancha nistara lagi Sutta kaya vyasa Mayavadi Pashashunale Ayasa Manasha Jaho Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavira Sane Ekanta Swayakara Chaitanya Charane Bhagavate Jinamane Seyavana Sama Tara Shasta Haj Janme Janme Prabhu Jama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. So it's explained that Nigama Kalpataro Galitam Alam Shuka Mukharam Mitadavya Samyutam Divita Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Uha Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavaka. Those persons who are expert and thoughtful men, also says who are free from enviousness, they're able to relish the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's explained Krishna is non-different from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, incarnation of Krishna. So it means direct association with Krishna. So those who are very expert and thoughtful, they're able to relish that Srimad Bhagavatam, that krishna-katha. And it became especially sweet because it was spoken by Premi Bhakta, Shuddha Bhakta, Shri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore the fruit became even more and more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. So it's meant to be relished, Srimad Bhagavatam. Means direct association with Krishna, Rama, reservoir of all pleasure, and especially hearing from Krishna's pure devotee, Premi Bhakta, then it's even more sweet. So if we cannot get that sweetness, my Gurudev, I remember many times he said, this is so sweet. And he said, are you tasting? Tasting? And he would go around the room, are you tasting it? And we're like, not really. No? Not tasting? Tasting? You're not tasting? It's so sweet. And we were like, wow, what is he tasting? I wish I could taste what he's tasting. So that takes a lot of mercy from Krishna and also qualification of such devotee, expert, thoughtful, non-envious, eager, greedy to hear about Krishna and relish krishna-katha, hari-katha. So this is how to get higher taste, and otherwise you can't get rid of other topics, other interests, other materialistic, mundane issues. Right? Need a higher taste. Then you can let go of the lower taste. So it's explained that the Srimad Bhagavatam is spotless Purana. It only describes pure supreme knowledge, Tattva Vichar, that of the Paramahamsas. Automatically you'll get free from your sinful desires, your karmic, materialistic mentality, working for sense gratification, and sinful reactions, which is causing the suffering, will also leave us if we're able to nicely get the mercy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then all transcendental knowledge and realization on soul platform will manifest by the mercy of the Srimad Bhagavatam, mercy of Guru and Krishna. automatically will become renounced. All the material things which seem so important, so interesting to us, will become more and more bitter, more and more insignificant, automatically, just by getting mercy of Bhagavatam and hearing about the Srimad Bhagavatam. And our class today is also on this topic, so we'll talk more about it later. And naturally, devotion comes up. Right now we're crying for Maya. If we can somehow get mercy and this Maya becomes more and more insignificant, then we'll learn how to cry for Krishna. Those who cry for Krishna, they get Krishna. We're not crying for Krishna, therefore we're not getting Krishna. This is the problem. But if we get mercy of Bhagavatam, we learn how to hear properly, sufficiently Srimad Bhagavatam, then automatically these other things which seem so important, bodily relations, materialistic activities and topics, all of this thing will become less and less and less. And then our interest and desire for spiritual life and devotional life will become more serious by that satsanga. And will become liberated, will become purified by this contaminated mind and senses automatically if we can receive mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is essence of all of the Vedic literature. Krishna says, by all the Vedas I am to be known. So it's explained just by Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence, the perfection, everything is there mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the essence of all the Vedanta philosophy. Vedanta means the end of all Vedic knowledge. So it's the essence of that. And then again, if you feel satisfaction by hearing and chanting this nectarian mellow, then will not be attracted to any other literature, any other topic. Right now we're attracted because we're not getting higher taste, higher mellow and satisfaction. And we'll discuss this in the class today. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is giving direct information of that mellow derived from that loving devotional service to Krishna. That's the topic of the Srimad Bhagavatam. If we cannot get purified by that, become attracted to that, become attached to hearing and chanting about Krishna, to Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that every other thing we're doing that we think is spiritual, it's all useless. If it doesn't bring you to be attracted and attached to hearing and chanting about Krishna, it doesn't give you a taste in a higher spiritual consciousness, then it's all useless materialistic thoughts and activities, which sometimes we're calling religious or spiritual. But if it doesn't lead to attraction and attachment to doing sadhu sangha and relishing that Hari-katha, Krishna-katha in that association, then whatever we're doing is not helpful, it's useless actually. So we'll talk more about that in the class today, because we just picked a verse randomly and a nice verse came, so it looks like we have to talk on that one. And more of this discussion about glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Hari-katha, Krishna-katha, that's discussed in this verse today, so we can talk more. Now we'll turn to the text today. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. To get all those benefits of the Srimad Bhagavatam, you need mercy. You cannot just force it by your intellect, by your strength, by your scholarship, by your speculation. This will not work. If we get mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam, then we'll get purified, then we'll get free from these material desires, sinful reactions. Then all of our questions will be answered, all of the doubts will be destroyed, then our devotional desire for devotional service will increase, and automatically all of these other interests and topics and bodily relations will automatically become less, gone. Then we get a taste and relish with Krishna, about Krishna, in that Vaikuntha atmosphere, Mathura. Where do we see? Was that the quote of the day? Right? I'll read you a quote of the day on the topic just to get you a little inspired by Srila Gogovinda Swami. And then this will be a nice meditation for the discussion from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think I can pick it up. Srila Gogovinda Maharaj, in the quote of the day, talking in Paris, something about these people from France. I don't know what it is, you know. He said, Mathura Vasa, Mathura Vasa. One should live in Mathura. Why are you living here? We should vacate France. And we should go to Mathura. And we should stay there. Will it accommodate the whole world? Mathura is the place of the appearance of Krishna. So where Krishna appears, that is Mathura. So where there is sadhu, pure devotee, there is Krishna. So my Gurudev said, bona fide Guru, he can make Krishna appear. So wherever Krishna is appearing, that is Mathura. Where Krishna appears, that is Mathura. Where there is a sadhu, pure devotee, there is Krishna, there is Mathura. So this is Mathura because Krishna has appeared here. Pure devotees are here. My Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, has established the center, has established the deities. He called Krishna. He called Krishna and Krishna appeared. So Bhagavat Shravana, hearing from Grantha Bhagavata, Bhakta Bhagavata, and the Nam Kirtan, sadhus, they are residing here. So Mathura is here. So whoever can make Krishna appear, Krishna mercifully agrees, that place is Mathura. So we should find that association that can make Krishna appear or manifest so that we can be in Mathura consciousness, Vaikuntha consciousness. And then once we get a taste of that Vaikuntha consciousness, you alright? Yeah? Are you a little disturbed today? No? You're peaceful? Really? Okay. That's real convincing. That's Vaikuntha consciousness. So we get a taste of that, then we'll realize there is a consciousness, a place, an association which gives us all of this spiritual benefits and food for the soul. Then we'll get nice higher taste, higher consciousness, and everything else will become not so significant. In some ways it will become actually bitter. So we're going to talk about that in this class today also. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading in Srimad Bhagavatam in 3rd canto, chapter 5. This is Vidura. Vidura's talks with Maitreya. 3.5 and text number 11. 3.5.11. Vidura talking with Maitreya Rishi. Please repeat. Ka Tripnuyat Kirtapada Abhidana Satreshu Vaha Shuribhi Vidyamana Yaha Karmanadim Purushasya Yata Bhava Pradam Geharatim Chinati. Where's your father? He's not coming every day?
He has seva in the temple.
Morning and night? Acha, he doesn't want to hear, huh?
I can call him if he wants.
No, Krishna calling him, but he's not coming. He's not interested. Otherwise he would be eager, greedy to come. Looks like Maya's catching Papa. Maya caught Papa. Huh?
He thinks if he doesn't attend regularly, then...
Don't make excuses for your father. Alright? He has to answer him for himself, isn't it? Only we can be responsible for ourselves. Krishna's offering to one and all, and whether we take or not, that is up to every individual. We cannot control anybody else, whether they like, don't like, take it, not take it. Huh?
He said he listens on the phone there now.
Yeah?
He said he's listening online.
Acha, so that means he's listening to this discussion and what I'm saying. Huh? Very good. Maybe that old man will find his way down here and hear, huh? From the lips to the ear directly, not through the electricity, not through the recording machine. That's not as effective. Understand? But that's nice. The son is trying to protect the father, trying to... It's natural.
He said the other day,
Huh?
I listened.
He said the other day that he's listening online.
Ah, okay. Anyway, he's listening to me then now online also, right? So this is like this. Kas tripnuyat tirtapado vidyanat sateshuva shuribir idyamanat. Yaha kana nadim purushasya yato bhava pradam geha ratim chinati. Please repeat. Kaha. Who is that man?
Who is that man?
Tripnuyat.
Tripnuyat.
That can be satisfied.
That can be satisfied.
Tirthapada.
Tirthapada.
Of him whose lotus feet are all places of pilgrimage.
Of him whose lotus feet are places of pilgrimage.
Abhidhanat.
Abhidhanat.
From the talks.
From the talks.
Sateshu.
Sateshu.
In human society.
In human society.
Ba. One who is.
One who is.
Surivi.
Surivi.
By great devotees.
By great devotees.
Idyamanat.
Idyamanat.
One who is so worshipped.
One who is so worshipped.
Yaha.
Yaha.
Who?
Who?
Kananadim.
Kananadim.
In the holes of the ears.
In the holes of the ears.
Purushasya.
Purushasya.
Of a man.
Of a man.
Yata.
Yata.
Entering.
Entering.
Bhava Pradhan.
Bhava Pradhan.
That which awards.
That which awards.
Birth and deaths.
Birth and deaths.
Births and deaths.
Births and deaths.
Geharatim.
Geharatim.
Family affection.
Family affection.
Chinati.
Chinati.
Is cut off.
Is cut off.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Who in the human society can be satisfied without hearing properly and sufficiently talks regarding the Supreme Lord? Who in the society can really be satisfied without hearing properly and sufficiently talks regarding the Supreme Lord, krishna-katha, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all of the places of pilgrimage and who is worshipped by great sages and the pure devotees. Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of the ears. Such topics can cut off one's bondage, one's attraction and attachment to family, bodily relations and affections simply by hearing through the holes of one's ears. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna-katha is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance from the bondage of family affection. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of the external energy, Maya. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of Maya. And it is the only impetus for all mundane activities. So this illusory manifestation of Maya in the form of material affection, love and affection for your family, is the reason, is the only thing that is forcing us into materialistic activities. As long as there is mundane or materialistic activities, then your mind is absorbed in such thoughts and engagements. And one has to undergo repetition of birth and death in the current of this material nescience, ocean of material suffering. People are most influenced by the mode of ignorance, tamagun. And some are influenced by the passionate mode of material nature, rajagun. And under the spell of these two modes, a living entity is actuated or forced to be in a material conception of life. The mundane qualities do not allow a living entity to understand his real position. We talked about this last night. The mundane qualities, tamagun, rajagun, it doesn't allow the living entity to properly understand his real position, his adhikar. The qualities of both ignorance and passion strongly bind one into a bodily, illusory bodily conception of the self. The best among the fools who are thus deluded are those who engage in altruistic activities or so-called humanitarian activities under the spell of the material mode of passion. So the best of the fools are engaging in the altruistic, humanistic, right? We are human, right? Under the spell of the mode of passion. The Bhagavad Gita, which is direct krishna-katha, gives humanity the elementary lesson that the body is temporary and perishable, and that the consciousness, which is spread throughout the body, is imperishable. So the body is temporary, the soul is eternal. The conscious being, the imperishable self, the Atma, is eternally existent and cannot be killed under any circumstances, even after the dissolution or the end of this body. Anyone who understands that this perishable body is the self, and who works for it in the name of sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, internationalism, they're under the false plea of the bodily conception of life. is certainly a fool and does not know the implications of what is really reality and unreality. So if in bodily consciousness, tamagun, rajagun, we cannot really know what is reality, what is unreality. Maya makes what is real appear to be unreal. And what is unreal, she's making it appear to be real. That is what Maya is doing under modes of material nature. So some people are above the modes of ignorance and passion and are situated in the mode of goodness, sattva gun. But mundane goodness is always contaminated by tinges of ignorance and passion. So even if you got to sattva gun, it's still contaminated by rajagun and tamagun. So mundane goodness, materialistic goodness, sattva gun, it can enlighten one that the body and the self or the soul are different, that there's a difference between the soul and the body. And one who's in a goodness is concerned with the self or the soul and not the body. But those in mundane goodness, due to this contamination, due to this tamagun, rajagun, they cannot understand the real nature of the self as a person. Because it's still contaminated, they don't understand really that we're eternal servants of Krishna, we're eternally persons meant to serve the Lord. So that realization is not there in material mode of goodness, sattva gun, because it's still contaminated by this modes of ignorance and passion. Their impersonal conception of the self as being distinct from the body, they're a soul, but they don't realize they're a person. So it's impersonal conception. That keeps them in the mode of goodness within the material nature. And unless they are attracted, purified and attracted by krishna-katha, they will never be liberated from the bondage of the material existence. So krishna-katha is the only remedy for all people of the world, because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self. And it can liberate one from material bondage. It's the only remedy. So to preach this krishna-katha all over the world, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, this is the greatest missionary activity. And all sensible, sane men and women of the world, they may join in this great preaching movement started by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Om Jnana Tamaranda Shagana Jana Shalakaya Chakshulata Janatasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Swami Gurudev. Who in the human society can be satisfied without hearing properly and sufficiently talks regarding the Supreme Lord, Krishna-katha, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all of the places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great sages and the pure devotees. Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears. So this attraction and attachment to bodily relations, family affections, is very, very, very deep-rooted problem. Completely, that's how Maya's catching. My Gurudev used to say, you know, the tears of the mother and the wife and the daughter, right? This is the last weapon of Maya. Last weapon. As soon as mother's crying, wife's crying, daughter's crying, oh, this is to break your heart, right? Cannot tolerate it. So my Gurudev said, this is the last weapon of Maya. So this bodily, family, relations, attractions, and affection, so-called love, in this material world, this attraction and attachment is leading to every single other mundane and materialistic thought and activity, just because of that attachment. It's keeping us in a bodily conception of life, because that attraction and attachment, that so-called love and affection for your family members, that's what's forcing you to stay in the bodily conception of life, because you can't enjoy it if you're not in a bodily conception of life. So that's what's binding us into the cycle of birth and death, and creating all these materialistic thoughts and materialistic attachments and materialistic desires and materialistic activities and materialistic reactions, is due to this attachment bondage to this family affection. And it's a very, very deep rooted. My Gurudev said, although I'm speaking Hari-katha, Krishna-katha, how many are hearing it? And he said, very, very few, because their mind is stolen by illusion. They're condemned by tamagun, rajagun, stolen by illusion, and they're only thinking about their mother and their father and their husband and their wife and their sons and their daughters and their friends and associates, society, friendship and love. Because so much bondage, so much attachment, so much family affection is there. And so it's not allowing the soul to be attracted and attached to Krishna, hearing about Krishna. Because wherever our mind is loving, whoever we love, whoever love and affection we have, our mind is always running to that place. But Krishna says, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto, only think about me. Put all your love and affection and service towards me. So Krishna says, because your intelligence is splayed out, it's many branched, then your resolute determination to hear and chant and engage in devotional service is not manifesting itself because of this deep-rooted bondage to these bodily relationships. The bondage to family affection is too tight. And Prabhupada says in the purport that that bondage to your family affections, the so-called loving relationships, bodily relationships, this is Maya. It's all illusory manifestation of external energy. And it is the only impetus for all mundane activities. So whatever mundane activities we're doing is all sinful activities, more or less. Prabhupada says anything that you're doing that's not for Krishna's devotional service is sinful activities. So what is causing us to be engaged in these materialistic thoughts and activities, or sinful activities and sinful reactions? It's this attachment and bondage to family affection. This is the root of the problem. So if one somehow or other can hear Krishna-katha, Hari-katha, then the result will be that these topics and that consciousness that comes out of proper hearing and chanting, this Hari-katha, Krishna-katha, Krishna-nam, the end result will be that it will cut off this bondage to the family affection, which is forcing us to think in a bodily, materialistic, illusory way. That's what it will do. It will cut off. So if you don't want to cut it off and you don't realize that it's a serious impediment in your spiritual life, you won't just hear this katha. You'll sit officially like you're hearing, but you won't really let it inside because you are too attached to the bodily conception and too attached to the materialistic relationships. So we're officially sitting, but not entering inside, or it's going in one ear, out the other ear. Maya's not allowing to hear nicely because too much bondage to the affection of the family. Now Prabhupada said the family affection is a natural, to be affectionate. We're devotees, Vaishnavas affectionate to everybody. But family, okay, we also want some love and affection towards the family, that's natural. But if it's so much that it keeps you in a bodily conception of life and you're forgetting that you're an eternal servant of Krishna, and you just thinking, no, I just have to please and serve my family members, this is my happiness, this is my dharma, this is my activities, then it's too much attraction and attachment, too much family bondage puts you into bodily consciousness of life. So all the suffering and anxiety that we're experiencing is due to bodily consciousness, due to the bodily conception of life. Right? For the soul there's no suffering, for the soul there's no anxiety. But when we're on the bodily consciousness, bodily platform, that's where all the anxiety, all the disturbances, all of the unhappiness is coming because of this bodily platform. So it's saying that being servant of Maya, attached in the bondage of family affection, can never please Krishna. Krishna is only pleased by pure devotional service. And our soul also cannot be pleased unless we are engaged in pure devotional service, so much so that Krishna is happy with our thoughts and our activities and our service. So nobody's satisfied. We were reading last night, Prabhupada saying, if you're not surrendered, engaged in pure devotional service to the Lord in devotional service, your mind is always disturbed. It's always chanchalam. Disturbed mind, agitated mind. Oh, what will happen to them? Who will feed them? Who will provide for them? What if something bad happens to them? Right? Oh, my mother's unhappy. Oh, my daughter's unhappy. Oh, it's all these thoughts, right? It's all Maya thoughts. So there's no thinking about Krishna, because too strong bondage to family affection. That bondage to your family affection is forcing every other materialistic thought and materialistic activity, mundane thought, mundane activity, which is simply binding you in this action and reaction, sinful activity, sinful reaction, birth and death, cycle of birth and death. We're not getting freed from the cycle of action and reaction, birth and death, only because of the bondage to family affection. This is the root of the problem, why we're not able to nicely hear. Because my Gurudev said, instead of hearing and being attracted and attached to hearing about Krishna, you're just thinking about your loved ones, your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, your daughters, right? Your sons, your friends, your bank balance, right? Money, 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 brighter than the sunshine, sweeter than the honey. Right? So all material topics, material, mundane relationships, this all bodily concept of life, not on soul platform. That's why we're in anxiety, that's why we're disturbed, that's why we're always worrying what will happen, who will take care, right? So it says if you can somehow hear Harikatha, Krishna-katha, it will automatically cut off your bondage to family affection. So that's why we're not nicely hearing, because we know if I nicely hear, then my family attachment and attraction and family bondage to family affection will be cut. So we don't want that. We're too attached, too addicted. Hare Krishna. So we're just officially hearing. Yes, yes, nice class, Maharaj. Yes, you're talking some very important philosophy. Right, so officially hearing. But because my Gurudev said your mind is stolen by illusion, because of this bondage to your family affection, bodily relationships, your mind is too much distracted. So if we don't develop this attraction and attachment to hearing and chanting about Krishna, then all of those thoughts and activities are useless. Completely useless. Whatever you think you're calling spiritual, if it's not cutting your attraction and bondage to your family affection, and cutting this constant thinking and worrying about their pleasure, we're wasting our time in spiritual life. Not really hearing. That's why we're not getting this effect, this benefit. If you properly hear, in proper association, automatically it will cut off this bondage, like tight shackles, ropes, to your family thoughts and affections, right? Mother, father, brothers, sisters, friends. So he's explaining, Vidura speaking to Maitreya, that who in the human society can actually be satisfied without properly and sufficiently hearing this Harikatha, Krishna-katha. There's no way to be satisfied. If Krishna is not satisfied, our soul will not be satisfied. It says if we engage in pure devotional service constantly in an unmotivated way, then automatically our soul, our self will be satisfied, because Krishna is satisfied. So in the purport, Prabhupada's explaining that this Krishna-katha is so powerful that Krishna-katha is non-different from Krishna. If Krishna in the form of that transcendental sound can somehow or other enter into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance. It can deliver you from your bondage of family affection. So we don't want to be liberated from the bondage of our family affections because we're too attached. So we're hearing, but not really hearing. Because if we really heard, and Krishna really entered inside, he would sever the illusory bodily concept of life, which is exhibited in selfish and extended selfishness based on this family affection. The bondage of family affection. Sometimes devotees, they charge to the Guru, Sadhu Guru, Vaishnavas, oh, they're trying to ruin families. Right? He's destroying families. So from materialistic, socialistic point of view, this is scandalous, isn't it? Yeah. This is cruel. This is criminal. Right? But Krishna is saying, I want you to be part of my family. Right? Krishna said, I'm the seed-giving father. I'm the father of every single soul, every living entity. On our platform, everyone is brother and sister. We have one father, Krishna. So Krishna's not breaking families, he's trying to invite us back into the original spiritual family. We are temporarily bewildered by Maya and wasting all of our time, energy, thoughts and activities serving in Maya's family. So no one's trying to break the family relation, we're just trying to understand what is the actual real, what is the reality, means Krishna's family, Krishna's samsara. So Guru is creating Krishna's samsara, where Krishna is the head of the household. And that this is real communism, right? Where Krishna is at the head of the household and everyone is the eternal servant of Krishna, and we're serving as brothers and sisters. That's Supreme Lord. That is the real family. Not the, Prabhupada says, not the illusory manifestation of the external energy, Maya. How many mothers have we had? How many fathers have we had? How many brothers and sisters and family members have we had? And somebody say, well, what about my mother? And then we say, well, which birth are you talking about? Which mother? Which father are you talking about? Right? As soon as you leave this body, you'll never see that soul again. These relationships are not eternal. These are all very, very temporary relationships. But we're taking it as real. We are taking the illusory manifestation of Maya as the reality. And then the reality of being and serving in Krishna's family, we're thinking that's unreality. That's not the real. Opposite. So what's real, we're like, this doesn't seem real. And what's unreal, we're taking that as real. So that illusory, that Maya, which is causing this bondage of family affection, that's the cause for every other mundane, materialistic thought and activity. So it's not a small problem. If that bondage, that affection, that attraction to Maya and serving in Maya's family is forcing us to stay in Maya, to serve Maya, and causing every other materialistic or sinful thought and desire, where we're forced to accept the karmic reaction or sinful reaction, all of that action and reaction, sin and sinful reaction, is due only to this bondage of the family affection, means Maya's family. Then when you try to get out and go say, I want to serve in Krishna's family, then the mother comes, she's crying, especially in India, oh my God. They'll be rolling on the street, I'll commit suicide, right? Tears coming, now my life is leaving me. They should get Academy Award, right? For the drama they pull, they deserve an Oscar. Right? Isn't this like the biggest award? Right? The biggest award. There's such drama queens. We call them drama queens. We're surrounded by the drama queens of Maya. It's one category. The drama queens of Maya. It should be like a documentary or a soap opera. Right? It's a soap opera. Right? Yes. Especially in India, it's like, you know, the son wants to become a sadhu, you know, and then the mother's rolling on the street outside, she's beating herself, she's crying, she's looking for pills to commit to suicide, right? They always just threaten, you know? And then the tears are like, you know, like an ocean, right? And then your heart is like, oh, oh. So my Gurudev said, this is the last weapon of Maya. Wife is crying, girlfriend is crying, mother's crying, the daughters are crying, right? I saw on the airplane, I saw all of these new fathers taking care of their children, an Indian body. I said, oh, they have so much affection for their children. It's unbelievable. Those fathers, they look like mothers. I never saw anything like that, right? The lady's just sitting there, the father's doing all the work, you know? The next thing I'm thinking, the father's gonna breastfeed that baby, you know? That's the only thing missing. Practically every other thing he's doing, only the one thing he can't do is, okay, yeah, you know, throw the baby back at the mother, you know? But otherwise, the fathers are like, you know, they're rocking the babies, and they're like, just like, you know, I'm saying, my God, they're so attached already. The baby's like this big, you know? He's already like this. The whole flight. For hours and hours and hours, just baby, 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 baby. I remember I was given a class in Estonia one time, and everyone was like enthusiastic, they were listening, everything, right? And then this little baby came. Someone brought this cute baby, and this baby was really cute baby. Really fat and beautiful and very attractive, you know? And that little fat baby was running around, and everybody was like, all the Matajis especially, they were all like, oh, look at the baby! It's a baby! Oh, the baby! It's a baby! Right? And I'm like, hey, you know, we're talking krishna-katha. I just lost 50% of my crowd. You know, get rid of that kid, you know, he's cute. You know, put him in the back room, you know. He's stealing my crowd, you know. Everyone was listening nicely. And Maya just comes with this fat little cute baby. Right? Big cheeks, curly hair. Right? Waddling, like not really walking, and it's like, oh, that's so cute, the baby, it's the baby. So it's like a big time Maya, big time. And I saw these Indian guys, I said, wow, they're so soft-hearted. They're like so, you know, Western guys, I see these Russian fathers, you know, they're not acting quite the same, you know. Or Western fathers, they're like, okay, sit down, here's something to eat, you know? But the Indian fathers are just like, oh, rocking the baby, like the whole flight. And then I'm going to, you know, use the bathroom, and the father's just laying next to the baby, and the baby's sleeping, snoring, and the father's like, oh, my baby. So powerful, so strong. Attraction, attachment, so much Maya, completely Maya, right? And we're taking that as the reality. That is my family. We're forgetting that we're all eternal servants of Krishna. Krishna is our father, right? And Guru, Krishna's family, right? Yes, we're breaking up Maya's family. That's what we're supposed to be doing, because if you don't get out of Maya's family, how are you going to serve in Krishna's family? If you don't get out of Maya consciousness and the bondage of material affection, bodily conscious, how you'll serve in Krishna's family? How you'll develop attraction and attachment and love and affection for Krishna and Krishna's devotees? You'll just maintain your narrow, selfish, materialistic relationship. Then we'll be servant of Maya. We'll be trying to please all of the people, all of the time. I remember one time I was taking a walk last year in Mayapur on the back road. I was trying to get some exercise. I met one man, he came up, he said, can you help me with some donation? I said, I don't have anything, I'm just walking. I said, why, what's the problem? He said, you see, I have 7 daughters. 7 daughters. Can you imagine an Indian man with 7 daughters and he can't even get some rice and dal together? Mataji, you understand? You don't understand? Is she alright? Is she getting nervous by this katha? Mothers get really uptight with this kind of katha. You see? Because they're looking at that son especially. He is my life and my soul. He's my only hope of surviving old age, disease, and death. So they will hang on to you like anything. Unless they're devoted. Then they know my son cannot save me, my daughter cannot save me, my mother and father cannot save me. Only Krishna, Krishna's pure devotee can save me. Right? Okay, we want to be loving, affectionate to everybody, no problem. But if it's too much, and we're forgetting our duty, we're forgetting Sanatan Dharma. Who are you trying to please? Mother? Father? Krishna? Guru? I remember I was preaching in Latvia and I was talking like this, and then one young couple, they came and they were just going to go hear some Hari Katha and then go out and party, go to out for dinner and some other entertainment. So I'm going for like 4 hours, just like heavy. What is material life? How miserable, suffering, bodily relations. It's all Maya. And they're just sitting there like, they're thinking we'll just pop in for like 30 minutes, hear some krishna-katha, and then go out and have fun, right? And then I could see the guy was just like, yeah, man, I'm wasting my time here, right? And the girl's getting nervous, because she could see that the guy was just like, yeah, man, this is a waste of time, This is Maya. I should serve Krishna. And then the more he was getting detached, the more she was like hanging on to him. She's like on his arm, his leg. She's like trying like anything to keep him in a bodily conception of life. Because the night is still young. And I started laughing, I said, she still thinks there's hope tonight. She's praying like, please. This is totally ruining our whole night. Right? This was supposed to be like a 30-minute class. It's like 4 hours later, he's just like chopping and cutting and slamming and exposing and provoking and challenging. I mean, they were like, this lady's makeup was like, just running down her face, her hair is like, it's like all over the place, They didn't come in like that. They came in, they looked baka, By the time they left, they looked like they were in Afghanistan or something, Some battle was going on there, And then at the end, I was like, okay, the class is over. And she's like, thank God. She was like, she was like the happy when you say, okay, Grantara, Shiva Bhagavatam. She's like, thank Thank you, Krishna. You're killing me. You're killing me. Right? And then then they're going out, right? I give them a little prashad, and I said, listen, you guys have a great night tonight. You know, hope you have a great night. I hope you really enjoy, you know? And then I said, come back tomorrow. Tell me how your night went, you know? And then they walk out the door like, you know, what do we do now, you know? This guy ruined everything. He ruined everything. I had one devotee who said, you know, I was enjoying in my family life, and then we started associating with you, and you're like a wrecking ball. You know this ball that knocks down the skyscraper? This big ball, like steel. So he's thinking that our association and talk was like a big wrecking ball that just totally destroyed this family life. I was peaceful, I was happy, I was enjoying, everyone was cooperating, right? I was eating nicely, everything sense gratification, you know, going in my own way. Now after some time, we're all disturbed. Our relationships are all shaky now. All of our plans are like ruined. Now we have no faith in our plans. Right? We had these fantastic plans. We're gonna do this and that, this and that, this and that, and we'll build this, and we'll live there, we'll travel here, and we'll do like, right? And at the end, you're like, do you still want to do all of those things? And we're like, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to work now. In fact, I know it's not going to work now. Many times my Gurudev would be preaching, and he said, I know that this is, how did he say, like it's, he used to say, now you're disappointed. Right? So all of your plans, all of your attachments, all of your family affection, and all of this other thing, now everything is thrown into question. Right? Because the Guru is just chopping away, chopping away at your mundane bondage to your family affection. Because if he doesn't release you, how you're going to go serve Krishna? Right? You're dragging the baby, you know, the Guru's like, oh, let me cut that, you know. That kid will survive, don't worry about it, you know. And the kid's like, in India, you know, when they're begging on the street, right, they come with the baby, you know. It's like piteous, you know, you want to like start crying, you know. It's like you just dump out all your money, you know. They're so expert the way they do that. Do they go to school to learn that mannerism? I mean, it's classic. It's classic. You're taking out your checkbook, you know. And then one time, you know, I said, oh, they're hungry, you know, and I have like all this prasadam and I'm trying to give them food. They're like, no, money. I said, 2 seconds ago, I thought you were hungry, you know? I thought it was a food problem. I'm too simple, you know? I thought this means you want to eat something, you know? Here I get this whole bag with Tupperware, and I'm like, Tupperware going out the window in Bombay. The red light. Tupperware. Like good quality Tupperware, too. Not cheap stuff. And they're like, no. Are you saying? Are we misunderstanding each other? Does that not mean Tupperware food, prasadam? You can't eat money. You can't eat money. You should just go like this. That I can understand. But this one, I thought it was you're starving. Right? Then you give some donation, then they walk and they just give the baby to somebody else, you know? It's like, pass the baby. Okay, hey, you did pretty good, you know? Then they're over there counting their money. Can I use your baby for a minute? Yeah, no problem. You know? Then the kid comes, it doesn't even look like the mother, you know? Right? It's like, that's your kid? Kid screaming is like. So this sentimental, emotional drama that's going on, it's totally Maya's, weapon, how to keep you in bodily consciousness, in the bodily concept of life. Now, if the mother, father, family member, devotee, then we want to help all devotees. Definitely. They want to serve Krishna, they want your support and help, and no problem. But if they're not interested in Krishna, they're not interested in devotional service, they just want manmana, bhava, only think about me. Right? Mother, father, wife, son, daughter, they want all the attention. They want all of your offerings. It says that the children, they're like, what is it, like jackals and, what's the other?
Hyenas, jackals, hyenas.
Yeah, they're like hyenas and jackals, how to just take money away from the father. Right? Right. Just constantly just draining. They can never be, nobody can be satisfied unless you're a devotee of Krishna, unless you surrender to Krishna. So you can give everything, and it's still not enough. And then if you say, look, I don't have very many material things for you, but I will give you my soul. No, I'm not interested in your soul. I need money. I need sense gratification. Show me the money. Show me the money. Yeah, these classes are great. If you're attached to the bondage of material bodily attachment, affection, this is a killer. This is like a chopping, cutting. Sadhu means to cut. Right? If that's what's keeping you in material bondage, then it's the Guru's job to tell sharp words what is the unpalatable truth. Right? So if somebody is not, if someone's envious of Krishna and not surrendering to Krishna, they're a demon. They're demons. Right? If your mother, your sister, your daughter hates Krishna and hates that you're a devotee of Krishna, a demon. So we're concerned about serving demons, asatsanga, demons? And then Krishna, Guru, Vaishnavas, right? We're like, not so important. As long as there is mundane, materialistic thoughts and activities, and your mind is absorbed and distracted by those engagements, one will be forced to undergo repetition of birth and death. So the mundane bodily relations, attachment, love and affection is binding us into cycle of birth and death. So if the idea of the Guru is trying to liberate us from cycle of birth and death, means he has to cut this materialistic attachment. Family affection, Prabhupada says, is an illusory manifestation of Maya. And it is the only impetus, it's the only thing that's forcing us to think and act materialistically. So selfish, I, me, and mine, and for family, society, friendship, and love, extended selfishness. So it's easy to say, yes, I want to be devotee of Krishna from the lips. But if we're maintaining this bodily consciousness, this asat sangha, worried thinking, serving, asat sangha, maya, family, there's no release from this bodily consciousness, sinful desires, sinful reactions. There's no way out. Any questions or points? Yes, sir.
Quello che dice lui è la verità assoluta, no? Però per una persona, per esempio come me, che ha vissuto, diciamo, nel Tempio per tanti anni, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Forte. Bolo.
Hare.
Forte. Speak loud. Speak loud.
Maharaj, what are you talking about is the absolute truth. But for one as me that lived for a long time in the temple,
Vedere, diciamo, sentire le cosiddette autorità.
here the so-called authorities.
Che
Hearing what?
So-called authorities.
So-called devotees.
Authorities.
So what you're speaking, Gurudev, is the absolute truth. But for one who's been living in the temple for a long time, hearing so-called authorities.
Yeah, that's what I said. So-called authorities, devotees. Huh?
praticamente sentire le prediche di queste cosiddette autorità che ti dicono che ti devi distaccare, che devi dare tutto a Krishna, che devi servire Krishna, che ti devi abbandonare completamente, eccetera, eccetera.
Hearing this authority that say you have to surrender into Krishna, you have to give everything to Krishna.
That means you're swimming in the absolute truth then. You're relishing. If he's doing all of that and following the authorities, that means he's swimming in the nectar of the absolute truth, right? Living in the temple, giving everything, serving everyone. So is that his experience? He's relishing and swimming in the nectar of the absolute truth?
La domanda è questa in pratica. No? Io sento l'autorità che mi predica il distacco, l'abbandono, eccetera, eccetera. Però poi vedo questa stessa autorità che è attaccata a una posizione, che se va in giro con un macchinone da 50.000 euro, che c'è il computer super sofisticato, che fa viaggi continui in tutto il mondo, eccetera, eccetera, a predicare un distacco che lui stesso non, come si dice, non manifesta, capito? Allora, come si dice, molti devoti sono rimasti delusi da questa, come si dice, da questa situazione delle cose, no? Cioè sentirsi dire ti devi abbandonare, lasciare tutto, eccetera, eccetera, ma...
The question is this, that they are preaching in a way to give everything to Krishna and serve the other devotees, but then you see that their life is an opulent life with a great car. They are constantly traveling here and there, and what more?
And they have nice
La domanda è
computer.
questa, cioè,
Fancy life.
io, come si dice, io sono indotto ad abbandonarmi, no? Però poi dopo, praticamente, quella stessa autorità che mi ha predicato l'abbandono scappa via col conto in banca, il macchinone, eccetera, eccetera.
They are suggesting us to be surrendering to the Lord, but they have the bank account, they have they.
So I take it, I'm thinking that he's saying by his living in the temple and giving them everything, he's not satisfied with his spiritual results.
Quindi il fatto che tu hai vissuto nel tempo, che hai dato tutto a loro, tutta la tua energia, però non ti ha portato soddisfazione per i risultati. Exactly.
It's not really working.
Non sta lavorando proprio, cioè non sta producendo l'effetto che ti aspettavi.
Your soul is not really satisfied with all of this activities and all of these personalities, right?
La tua anima non è soddisfatta di queste personalità, di quello che... Esatto.
So now you need a better association.
So you need better, quindi tu hai bisogno di un'associazione
Ma
migliore.
come faccio a sapere che è una migliore associazione, l'altra, quella che...
But how can I to be sure that now
You see-
the other is the right association?
Now you know
Ora tu sai
what you don't want.
cosa non vuoi,
Now you know
ora tu sai
what doesn't work.
che cos'è che non lavora, cioè che
So that's good.
quello è già buono,
But still,
ma ancora
we need real association and real effective krishna-katha that can purify us, answer our question, destroy our doubt, and give a nice spiritual experience. So we have to pray to Krishna for really nice devotee association. Sadhu, Guru, Vaishnavas, simple-hearted, real devotee. We have to pray to Krishna. Krishna, I need one of those. I don't want one of these, I want one of those. And then Krishna will fulfill your spiritual desire. He'll make arrangement to meet like-minded devotees. We're not satisfied because we're not associating with like-minded devotees. Prabhupada said, birds of the same feathers, they're flocking together. So those materialistic people, they like this type of materialistic association with so-called authorities. They're satisfied because they're materialistically motivated as well. But if you want more than that, you want something spiritual, then we need actual spiritual association. That means really devotee. Not officially devotee, but real devotee of Krishna. So you pray to Krishna, Krishna, I don't know who is your devotee, who is your real devotee. I thought these people were your real devotee. But I see that's not true, and I'm not getting any real spiritual benefit. It's not working. So please kindly allow me to have a nice devotee association, and Krishna will make an arrangement for you to meet sadhu, guru, Vaishnava. Sometimes the guru will go to you, sometimes you'll go to the guru. Somehow Krishna will make this arrangement. Then he'll give intelligence and faith inside. This is my arrangement. You should accept this person as your guru. But if you don't understand that it's Krishna's arrangement, and you're not depending and trusting on Krishna, then where will you get the intelligence and faith to understand it? Prabhupada says that intelligence and faith comes from Chaitaguru, Paramatma, Super Soul. So you ask the Lord of the heart, He'll give you intelligence and faith to understand it. If you don't go to the Lord of the heart, the source of all knowledge, intelligence, you'll just rely on your feelings, your emotion, your sensory, materialistic, intellect, mind, platform. But that's what cheated us before. So that's not a good judge, not a good measurement. So we need to depend on Krishna to make arrangement and give us intelligence and faith from inside. Then we can understand it. You follow that one? Does that make sense?
This is perfect.
If you don't get Krishna association by his devotee, you'll never be satisfied. Externally it may look religious institution, people dressing like religious people. They're talking so much philosophy and Krishna and quoting shlokas and giving classes and lectures, and externally it looks like okay. But the practical result is not okay, because there is no result. You're just left bewildered, disillusioned, disappointed, so many more questions, so many more doubts. That's not helping you, this type of asatsanga. So we need this satsanga, sadhu sangha. By Krishna's arrangement, he'll make necessary association, and then we'll hear what is truth, what is the truth. There's a ring of truth. Devotee means seeker of the truth, right? So if that's our desire, Krishna tattva, Krishna is the truth, Krishna will give intelligence and faith. If you don't depend on Krishna for that intelligence and faith, you'll go to your intellect, your mind, your senses, your feelings, your emotions. You'll just try to measure that person. But it says here, Prabhupada said, right, if you're under tamagun and rajagun, if you're in the bodily consciousness, bodily concept of life, then that mundane qualities, tamagun, rajagun, how does it say? The mundane qualities, it does not allow a living entity to understand his real position. So if tamagun and rajagun not allow us to understand even what is our position, what is our qualification or disqualification, What is our actual situation? If we can't even understand that within ourselves, about ourselves, then how under those modes of material nature influenced by Tamagun, Rajagun are we going to measure and understand transcendental personality? Who is who? What is what? How will you measure it? My Gurudev used to say, you are not the seer. You are to be seen. We're trying to see. Prabhupada said, we're very proud of our eyeballs. If I just look at this person enough, I'll understand him. Right? Many people, they're just staring at me. You know, it's kind of freaky. A little freaky. Everyone's trying to measure me. Who the hell is this guy? You know? And how he's speaking like this, you know? Nobody's speaking like that. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It's scandalous. Right? So how you gonna measure it? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says you understand by your ear and the effect of hearing from that person, not from your eyeballs. That's why I was joking the other night when I come to India. They said, what are you doing here, you know? Immigration. I said, oh, I'm a yoga teacher. They look at me, they say, I never saw a yoga teacher that big in my life. You know, what kind of yoga are you doing? Well, it's called bhakti yoga. We eat a lot of pizza, potatoes, gurangas, sakadashi, right? Guranga. Bread, butter, any prasad, we'll take it. That's our that's our treatment program. They're like, okay, whatever, you know, snap. Okay, you're all set. Yoga teacher, you know. Then they're talking amongst themselves. That guy's a yoga teacher. Come on. Yeah, it's bhakti, no problem. So how you're going to understand it? By eyeballs. It feels like death stares, right? Like everyone has X-ray vision, you know? Your eyeballs are going all the way to my bone marrow. It's like the ultimate, what is this machine? Huh? No, the other one? MRI. Forget about X-ray, man. We're going for the MRI on this guy. Right? The farthest you can get is to the bone marrow. Then what? So eyeballs are not going to tell you anything. In many ways, your eyes will bewilder you. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, you see by your ear. Right? This verse is talking about letting the katha enter into your ear, Krishna. Then what is the effect of the hearing? Because if Krishna is there in the katha and it enters inside of us, then you'll get an undeniable result. And if you don't get that result, that means we didn't hear properly, or we didn't hear properly from the right person. That's all you can be left with. Prabhupada said the speaker has to be qualified, the hearer has to be qualified, and if the speaker really is qualified, empowered, Krishna will agree to enter into that vibration, into that katha, transcendental sound vibration. If that penetrates your ear, then what is the effect of hearing from that person? So it has a ring of truth. If it's with Krishna, from Krishna, for Krishna, it will have ring of truth. You can tell by the effects of the hearing. Simply by entering into the holes of the ears. Are you staying for prasada?
I will be back.
You come back?
Yes.
All right. Unless we become attracted and attached to sadhu sangha, satsanga, and hearing krishna-katha, we will never be purified and liberated from the bondage of material existence. So unless we associate with Krishna through that krishna-katha, krishna-nam, oh, Papa came. He must have been listening to the class. We were missing him. He's my well-wisher. He's my friend. He's like my brother. You're my brother. You're my older brother.
I'm your servant for you.
Hare Krishna. You have a chair for him?
Yes.
Prabhupada said that katha, Krishna katha, the Shabda Brahma, it does not manifest through gramophone recording machine. Krishna doesn't agree to go through the gramophone machine. I mean, how much are we asking Krishna to do, you know? Krishna says, okay, here's the best I'm going to do for you. I'm going to speak through pure devotee. That's what I'll agree to. Well, Krishna, can you squeeze into the microphone and go through the Wi-Fi connection and through the connection through, you know, Airtel and up through the tower and through this little radio and then through the headphones. I mean, we're asking a lot from Krishna. You know what I mean? I mean, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know, I mean, the best we can hope for is that he'll agree to come through his pure devotee. I mean, what are we asking him to come through, you know? He's climbing through the towers, you know. And then we're just like, okay, when all of that happens, then I'll listen to Krishna, you know. So Krishna's like, look, this is where I'm going to speak. I'm speaking in your heart, you can't have it. I'm going to speak to the pure devotee, you don't know who's a pure devotee. I'm going to speak to the Shastra, I don't know that that's absolute. So now where are you going to hear Krishna? So the three places that Krishna is saying that he'll give you intelligence, we're not understanding, able to access that intelligence. This is problem. Because we're listening to the mind, we're speculating, we're in bodily concept of life, we're in a tamagun, rajagun, we're still so attached to bodily relationships and all topics which are mundane. There's a lot of material contamination and material attachment and material conceptions and material plans and material modes of nature, tamagun and rajagun, and then we're like, I don't see Krishna, I can't hear Krishna. Right? Why he's not revealing himself? We get my Guru said, you have Himalayan mountains of filth in your heart and your mind. It's got to get cleansed out, it's got to get cleaned out. That means you need a guru who's speaking unpalatable but strong, potent, powerful, cutting, transcendental sound vibration. That's how it's going to cut it. But what does our mind want? Oh, I want a guru who's nice, he sings nice, you know, he's funny, He doesn't bother me, he doesn't tell me anything to do. He just says, give me a little money, you know, some little respect, pranam, pranami, right? Then he doesn't bother me, he's not challenging me, he's not confronting me, he's not trying to cut my attachments, he's not trying to humble me. You want that kind of guru. I have a guru. I have a spiritual name. Prabhupada said, you're taking that guru like a fashion statement. Like the guy has a dog, you know. They walk around, this fancy dog. Just like a pocketbook or some nice shoes, or I get a Gucci dog. Gucci dog. You don't just get some mud, you know. Like some Indian dog, you know. You know, they don't walk around with Indian dogs, you know. They say, is this a purebred? Purebred? Even the dog's puffed up. I never thought I could see anything like that. You know? Even the dog's puffed up. You know, a mutt's just kind of like, I'm a mutt, you know? Right? But the pure breeds, the purebred, they're like, yeah, I've arrived, you know? So we're arriving and we got you know, a puffed up dog with us, you know? Gucci bag, purebred, right? This thing doesn't shed. Right? It's like a statement, like a fashion statement. Yeah, I got a guru. I'm an esoteric kind of guy, kind of gal. You know, I'm cool dude. I even got a name. Mayadas. I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool. Mayadas. And then you find out what does it mean. It's like you're a servant of illusion, you know? It's like, wow. So we don't want to do the hard work. We want everything easy. In America, like they have a drive-through, you know, you drive through. Even they have you can drive through and get married. Right? You don't even have to get out of your car. Right? Just drive up, keep the car running. You don't even have to shut the car off. Right? Just drive up to the window. Yeah, I want to marry this person. Well, what was your name? Oh yeah, her name is Sally, you know? Okay, yeah. You and Sally, God bless you, okay? Here's some water, here's some rice, you know? Shalom. Right? Then you drive in the parking lot, you know, and then you start fighting with each other, you know, then you drive to the other side and you get divorced. Right? 2-hour marriage. Then you get divorced, no strings attached, right? You can do it all in one house. Right? One side is marriage, other side is divorce. It's very pessimistic view that we have, isn't it? Does it feel pessimistic? Your mother's going to be like, I don't want you hearing from that person.
She says to hear from you only.
She said? That means she's devoted. That means she's devoted. If mother, father telling you surrender to Krishna and purify your consciousness and be a good boy and be a nice devotee, they're really devoted. If husband and wife put the Guru and Krishna mission in the middle and they're helping each other how to surrender, serve Guru and Krishna, no problem. But if the husband's saying, why are you worshipping Guru and Krishna? I'm here. I'm the man. Right? Or the wife says, why are you worshipping Guru and Krishna? You know, I need this and this and that, and this and that, and this and this and that. And this and that, endlessly. Right? Then it's a drag. Right? It starts to be a drag. Like a chain and ball, a ball and chain. Come on, honey, let's go. Can't move. Going a little slow. Things are going slow. The sadhu guru, right? They're painting what is the reality of the prison house. What is the reality of selfish, mundane, materialistic relationships? And how temporary and miserable it is. They're not here to, make you stay here longer. They're trying to give you a reason to get out. I was staying one place in Russia. Devotee said, sorry, because just outside there's some graveyard is there. So we feel bad that you have to see this graveyard. I said, no, it's very good. Very nice, because every time I'm chanting out there, I think that my life, death can come anytime. I don't have a lot of time. Life is short. Why get distracted by all of these temporary materialistic topics and relationships? Entangled? It's all very temporary. I remember I was married before I came back from my office job, and the former wife says, you know what, why don't you just go to India, fulfill your guru's instruction, and take sannyas. I was amazed. Right? Which wife can say like that? I want you to be spiritually happy, and you're only going to be happy following your Gurudev's instructions. Why don't you just, what kind of friend will I be for you if I force you to stay here when your heart and your mind everything is with your Gurudev in India? Why don't you just go there and take sannyas and fulfill your Gurudev's instructions? Krishna. Krishna just inspired her. Gurudev inspired. That's really good relationship, isn't it? That somebody wants what is best for your spiritual life. Who will do like this? Any other questions or points? Wasn't it Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to marry maybe some more beautiful girl? And the father made him to marry someone who was not so beautiful? And Prabhupada was, had different idea. And then the father Vaishnava, his father devotee, said, no, this girl, she's not so beautiful. It will be easier to get out of the family relationship. If she's very beautiful, very attractive, then it's much more difficult. If she's not so beautiful, a little easier. So Vaishnava knows, let's make it easier for you, not more difficult. And then you see devotee who has beautiful wife, a beautiful husband, right? they have much more difficult time to get out, right? Well, if the wife is like expert cook, like gourmet cook, whoa, beautiful and gourmet cook, you're signed, sealed, delivered, man. You're all locked up. All locked up. So if she's not so beautiful and she doesn't know how to cook anything, you're very lucky. From a spiritual point of view. And if they're very argumentative, not sweet, not nice mood, not serving nicely, that's very nice for your spiritual life. Then to get out is no problem. But if they're very sweet and they love you and they're serving you nicely and they're expert cooking and beautiful and you're the greatest and they're worshiping you and serving you, my God, you'll never get out of that situation. Impossible. That's why we were talking the other night, that's why those demigods, you know, they have very difficult time. Because they're enjoying hundreds, thousands of times more than we're enjoying. People there are way more beautiful. Much more beautiful. Much more opulence. Much more enjoyment. Higher quality of enjoyment. That's when Prabhupada was coming to America, he said, these people are enjoying like anything. How they gonna take to Krishna consciousness? They're enjoying, they're thinking they're enjoying, and they don't want to give up their enjoyment. I was telling one devotee, he was saying, wow, he's from Europe. He was saying, wow, these people are really enjoying pretty good here. And I said, this is not going to last long. A few years ago, I started telling him something's going to happen. And these people, they're not used to austerities and adjusting themselves. And so then I said, something's going to happen, some world war or some catastrophe will happen. And they'll go mad. Because in India, you know, you can adjust yourself. You go on the Indian train, Indian bus, you know, government office, traffic, this, that, right? So much you have to just tolerate. But if you're not used to tolerating, or in Russia also, they can tolerate a lot. Right? But if you're just used to sense gratification and easygoing life and everything going your way, oh, it's very difficult to tolerate. So Gurudev, my Gurudev, his words were very cutting, very sharp. He's just severing, cutting your false ego, your pride, your arrogance, your plans, your material attachments. That's what the sadhu guru is supposed to be doing. Not just patting you on the head and saying, yeah, do whatever you want. Everything's fine. Just give a donation. It's like paying the mafia, you know? You know? Then you can stay like not too harassed in the temple if you just give a little protection money, you know? Did you pay the Godfather? I paid the Godfather. Okay, leave him alone. Oh, Krishna. It's very unflattering information, but it's true. If you really think about it, it's really true. It's really going on in the name of religion. Any other point, question? Yeah?
Maharaj, you were saying that the Brahma, the Suda Sattva stage is tinged with the modes of passion and ignorance. Yes? This is
Hey, bring that chair for him over there.
No, it's all right.
Bring a chair.
You were saying that the
Thank you.
mode of goodness is changed with passion.
That's what Prabhupada said, yeah.
This is the same stage of the Brahmana, where the Brahmanas goes, Suda Sattva.
Is this the stage of the Brahmana?
Yeah.
Shuddha-sattva?
Yeah.
So this is a stage of
Mundane, materialistic sattva gun. Because none of the gunas in material nature are completely pure. One can be more prominent, but still affected by other modes. So even you're in mode of goodness, predominantly, but still, because of modes of nature, you still can be influenced by tamagun, rajagun. That's why still the understanding of absolute truth is not completely clear. So until we get our intelligence and faith from soul platform, transcendental platform, from Krishna, then there'll always be some lacking, something less in understanding is there. So we have to come to Shuddha Sattva. So Sattva gun, normal Sattva gun, mundane, materialistic Sattva gun is Brahmana platform. But Prabhupada said, first try to get to that platform. First try to elevate from Tamagun, Rajagun, then become more Sattva gun, more Brahminical, gentlemanly life. Then from that platform, then you can go to Shuddha Sattva, like stepping stone to Shuddha Sattva platform. So Shuddha Sattva platform means pure goodness on soul, transcendental platform. So it's a great gradual purification and elevation of consciousness and mentality and behavior to Sattva gun. Then from Sattva gun, then stepping stone. That's the real bridge preaching, is how to go from Sattva gun to Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva means Vaishnava, transcendental soul platform. So if we're in Tamagun and Rajagun, how we're going to understand anything about Shuddha Sattva platform, which is way beyond the gross and subtle material body. Heaven and hell difference. So we're trying to speculate and use material intelligence, scholarship, logic, argument to extrapolate or to try to understand what's going on transcendental fourth dimensional platform. Krishna's on fourth dimension, Krishna's devotees on fourth dimension. So if we don't come at least to mode of goodness and then purify mind and senses to also come to transcendental platform, then we cannot understand anything on transcendental platform properly. Because it's not revealed. Krishna's devotee not revealing because we're not qualifying, we're not deserving. Yeah.
At which stage does the devotee realize the Brahman?
After Anartha Nivritti, Rupa Goswami, when all anarthas freed from the heart and the mind, all misconception, philosophical misconception, false ego, pride, arrogance, conceit, material desires, material attachments, by proper hearing and chanting, under the guidance of bona fide sadhu guru, Vaishnava, then this will cleanse and purify mind and senses, heart, mind, will become cleared, then will come less false ego, purified, then you come to soul platform. So without the medicine, the bitter medicine sometimes of Hari-katha, Krishna-katha, in beginning it's like a bitter medicine. It's unpalatable, it's confronting, it's sometimes disturbing. But without taking that medicine, even bitter medicine of sadhu, guru, there's no way to purify the false ego. All the desires, sinful reactions, pride, arrogance, all of that is going on false ego platform. Sinful thoughts, sinful attachments, demoniac qualities, behavior, mentality, that's false ego. That has nothing to do with the soul. The soul, by its nature, is a sadhu. Godly, saintly, the soul. So the closer, the more we purify the false ego, the closer we get to the soul, the more saintly, godly qualities, mentality will come out. And the more we keep covering over and loading on the filth and the dirt and the false ego, the further away from the godly, saintly qualities we get, the more demoniac, sinful thoughts, desires, activities, behavior, reaction comes due to that false ego platform. So we need to find a guru that we will agree to cooperate with in order to purify this false ego. But Maya, she wants easygoing life. We want an easygoing life. The path of least resistance. So mostly we don't want to go under the knife. We don't want to purify cut, material consciousness, material desires, material attachments, bodily, family, affection, maya, attraction, bondage. We don't want to cut it. So Krishna says, okay, then stay like that. Suffer. Where's that coming from? It's me? I don't even know my own phone. I'm like, what is this? Someone gave me the phone, I don't even know how it works. Nobody calls me. Thank God. No wonder, I don't even pick it up. I don't even know it's my phone. Is that strange? If you call someone and they only speak the unpalatable absolute truth to you, how many times will you call that person? Rather, we want to call our friends, our family, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's everything? How you been? Right, that way it is. Talk, 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 talk. Right? If you talk to the guru and he's just like every second he's seeing if you're in Maya and then cutting, exposing you, chastising you, correcting you, punishing you, you're not going to call that person a lot. You're like, oh, I need some bitter medicine and some unpalatable truth to chop into my false ego and free me from these material desires. Let me call Gurudev. I'll be happy. Call me. Call me. That's why I don't get a lot of phone calls. Usually it's problems. No one usually calls the guru like with some positive thing, you know. When my phone goes off, it's like, oh God, I have this reaction like, That's why I keep changing the ringtone so I don't know it's my phone, you know? Then I don't get an anxiety. It's always like, oh, I didn't follow the instruction and now I messed up and now everything's coming at me and everything's disturbed and now I don't know what to do and how to do. Now I'm suffering, I'm baffled, I'm confused. Can you please help me what to do? That's usually the phone calls I get. And so a lot of people don't call me because of that. Only when they're in trouble. Mostly. Or if they have like a burning question and they really absolutely need to know and they just want to make sure that they're understanding properly what does Krishna want. They don't want to make a mistake. Or if they have doubt or question, no problem. We'll try our best to explain it. To help them. So did that help you?
Yeah.
That answered you? Yeah? Anybody else? Yeah?
So Gurudev, you're saying like this family affection, attachment, it leads to other attachments also, like.
Yeah, all other materialistic thoughts and activities. Yeah.
So if we can see like other materialistic thoughts and activities, like other attachments, friends and bank balance and everything, then we can understand that we must have this family attachment. That's why these all things are coming.
Absolutely. It means we're either attached on our own bodily platform, we're attached to bodily sense pleasure, sense gratification, gross or subtle, or selfishness, or extended selfishness. Family, bondage, attraction, attachment. But that's basically, it's all keeping you in a bodily consciousness. Unless we're hearing and associating with Krishna through the Guru, Sadhu Guru Vaishnavas, that's the only time that we're able to associate on spiritual platform, transcendental platform. So the more you have Sadhu Sangha and Hari-katha, Krishna-katha, the more you'll be transported into a spiritual atmosphere and a spiritual, enlightenment and spiritual pleasure platform. Then you're suspended from your bodily, materialistic thoughts, desires, attachments. That's the only time that we get suspended, lifted out of the ordinary thought process and activities on mundane, bodily, physical platform. Yeah. And maybe tomorrow we can discuss, because I think in a couple of purports after this, actually in the next translation it's saying that your friend Srila Vyasadeva, he's describing all of the wonderful qualities of the Lord in his Mahabharata. And the whole idea of this explanation of the transcendental activities and qualities of the Lord is to draw your attention, the attention of the mass of people, to krishna-katha. So Krishna's pure devotees, they're speaking and presenting in such a way that it's drawing our attention to krishna-katha instead of gramya-katha. So the materialistic relations, materialistic thoughts, desires, activities, it all is materialistic, means all gramya-katha. It's all talks related to the body, bodily relations, bodily sense gratification. So if we can get attracted to Krishna, krishna-katha by sadhu sangha, harikatha, krishna-katha, if somehow or other we can get a taste and an experience on transcendental platform, that will draw our attention to a greater plan, a greater consciousness, a greater effect than ordinary, selfish, narrow-minded, materialistic, boring, mundane topics. Still attached to. So Krishna is attracting us by sending his devotees who speak a type of quality of krishna-katha where Krishna manifests and then purifies our consciousness and lifts us and attracts us out of and away from the strong affinity and attachment to hearing mundane topics. That's how Krishna is doing it. He's just giving you a better relationship, a better conversation, a better effect through associating and hearing from our spiritual master. Then that effect of that hearing and association is so superior and interesting and satisfying to the heart and the mind that it's so superior that it pulls you away from it, draws your attention away from materialistic relations with small-minded, narrow, selfish, materialist, which is all enviousness, jealous, critical, judgmental, small-minded. Narrow topics, boring, narrow, selfish, mundane, which we're attached to, which we're still attracted to. So we need some higher taste, experience, and effect, which comes from hearing from this krishna-katha, harikatha, from lips of pure devotee of Krishna, where Krishna is manifesting there. Just a theoretical, philosophical discussion about philosophy is not going to attract your soul.